I'm your host, Chris Karras, and you're watching The Transporter Room. Today, I have the pleasure to speak with Katy Wicker. She is an actress and producer. Currently, Katy is the producer, one of the producers for the YouTube channel, The Decon Chamber. Thanks for taking the time to come on with me today, Katy.
Oh my god, of course, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, I thank you. And so, how's your morning going so far?
It's been great. I know, yeah, I'm, a little behind you, I guess. Yeah, your afternoon now.
Yeah, it's almost 1:30 for me.
That's true,
I know.
yeah. Yeah, man, I feel like you're getting a nice early it'd be a nice early start to your weekend right now, I feel like. If you were
Hmm.
you know?
I know. Oh,
Yeah,
this is work.
must be,
Um,
yeah.
so
But fun work, yeah.
True, fun work. It's making me not
Love
wanna
it.
go back to work now. So, well, I do wanna just let people know how that I actually it was so nice to get to meet you in LA back in, November 1st officially, when I got to come out and that's how we met, was I got to come out and attend the Bill Mummy recording for the Decon Chamber, and then again, we got to hang out at the Trek to Dallas convention, so it was nice to actually get to meet you in person twice, um, instead of just virtually, of course, like we are now.
Exactly. I know, I mean, that's been one of the just beautiful things I think about the Decon Chamber this year and getting it started is, we've made a lot of friends online. And it's one of the beauties of technology and the internet and YouTube and Patreon and all these channels that we can share our show on. But then actually getting to meet people who like the show and who are members of the show in real life like you is just it's a feeling that's just still indescribable. It's beautiful. It really is. And it's one thing I love about Star Trek in general is just how it's for decades now been able to bring people together continuously.
Well, and that's my question. One of the things I wanted to ask, honestly, because you and I've talked before this, and you're relatively new-ish to the whole Star Trek stuff in a way,
Yes.
which just kinda which and it made me which is why when you told me that, I still wanted to get on here because it's actually nice to talk to people who are new and learning about the series. I mean, and just the everything about it because I started with the Next Generation I got to see it when it came out, but that was really the only one. But I was just curious, what sparked was it something that sparked your interest or, what got you into the for I guess the podcasting world, then really into the Star Trek podcasting world?
Yes. Well, before I ever got into the podcasting world, the Star Trek podcasting world, I got into just the Star Trek world. I work with the company 455 Films, who produces the Decon Chamber, and they have made several documentaries. They actually that's their focus is documentaries. So the Decon Chamber is their first non-documentary adventure essentially and their first podcast ever. So it's been a big challenge for the company, but very an exciting thing to take on. But back in two actually, it really started back in 2020. I started working for a post-production house here in Los Angeles where I live, and I managed what's called a group of onliners. And I know to break down the post-production process in filmmaking, when something's in post-production, a film, it gets edited, and then uh, essentially, what I like to say, it goes through to the end of the machine, which is called the finishing department. And those people put all the little finishing touches. They color the piece, they sound design the piece, they mix it to make sure all the sounds level. And then there's an onliner who is kind of like the puppet who can put all that together. Um,
Wow.
yeah, yeah. And so one of my onliners that I managed, his name is Joe Kornbrot. He is one of my other producers for the Decon Chamber. I owe this man so much of my career. I knew that Joe had worked for this Star Trek company for a while. He kind of talked about it. I wasn't too familiar with it. And then one day, summer of 2021, he came to me and said, "Hey, you know what? My company has a shoot this weekend. We're down someone. Are you free?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm available," and helped them out that weekend. I hit it off with the team. They asked me back to help them with another shoot, and it just kind of snowballed into me starting to work with them regularly, and I've been working with them regularly since, and it's just been the best family to be a part of. It really has. And I have to be honest with you, Chris, I knew nothing about Star Trek when I first got brought on to
Well, and you told me that
Yeah,
when we start talking about this, and I was like, "Really?" But,
yeah.
okay.
I do love to act, so I've been able to fool a lot of people into thinking I know more about Star Trek than I do. Although, I do know a lot about Star Trek now. I've worked on numerous documentaries about it. I now work on a podcast about it. I my life is so entrenched in Star Trek now that there's no way I couldn't pick up stuff. I couldn't pick up knowledge about it along the way, and pick up an appreciation for it along the way. I mean, hey, I gotta say, I am a Star Trek Voyager fan now. My favorite character, Neelix. I love him. uh,
He's I liked Neelix. I really
yeah,
did.
he's an underrated character. He really is. But big
Yeah.
fan of him. I have a couple of his magnets on my fridge at home, like the different food that he made. It's very cute.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yeah.
too funny.
Um,
Oh, man. So I
yeah,
didn't know that about I guess I didn't realize that I didn't, that you actually were working on some of the other documentaries for 455 long before you started this journey with Decon. So were you there when they did, the DS9 documentary?
that was right before I joined the team.
Okay,
So
I
I
was just
joined.
wondering.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So I essentially joined when we, were doing a documentary about the women of Trek, which we fortunately had to stop for just other reasons, but, that was an incredible project. I truly hope it gets picked back up, especially now that Nana Visitor's book is out about the women of Trek. I mean, it was her documentary, and so it just as a woman, like, I wanna tell this story, and I think it transcends beyond Star Trek. It speaks for just women in every industry, in sciences, in the film industry, beyond. I think it's a very important message and story to tell. So that was my first project I got involved in with 455. Um, then I started working with them on the Voyager documentary. Uh,
Okay, so you
yeah,
were at the beginning of the Voyager doc then.
yes, yeah, or like
Okay,
around the beginning. I think they had filmed
correct.
a handful of interviews before I joined, but
Mhm.
there for a good majority of it.
Okay, well, see, I didn't know that, and that's good to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm waiting for I couldn't go to the premieres. It just ti
I know
I
that's
would have
right.
been gone
Yeah.
from, like, a month almost, because I came out there and
Be living like an Angelino. Just take off
yeah,
or.
okay, yeah. I mean, not that I don't have the time at work, but still, yeah, because I that was my so the decon, taping was my first time to come to LA. And now I really, let's just be honest, that was a come out, sleep, and leave.
I know, that was
Uh,
not a proper trip. You have to come back out for a proper Los Angeles trip.
I
Yeah.
will, and if we get certain guests, you get some certain guests to come on the main channel. We'll be talking. I will fly my butt back out there.
Be my first
Um,
first phone call I make.
Maybe not first, but you better be on the top within the top 10. I'm good. But yeah, I mean, that was Lee. I left Texas at 10 o'clock on Halloween, landed in LAX at midnight, your time. So now it's 2 a.m. Went to bed, got up, found the studio, did that, and left. Flew out of there at bright and early at 7 o'clock in the morning on
No,
Saturday.
I can't believe that. But hey, you got a nice drive through town, right? Going back to your hotel?
Yeah.
Kind
Not
of
intended by any
as nice as a drive as one can have,
well,
driving all around.
and yes, and it was all by accident because I missed one exit, and as soon as I can tell you this now, for me personally, after, the one time driving through LA, Burbank, all of that area, you miss an exit, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Pretty
Classic
much.
LA love story.
Yeah, I mean, I thought missing exits in Houston or Dallas were bad. Nah, that's nothing.
I know, which although I don't know, I gotta say I went home for to Houston for the holidays. I'm from Houston, and my God, I did forget that there are certain highways. Like if you're going along a certain stretch of the 10, like maybe out west by Katy, you miss an exit, you're screwed. Yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
And, oh, yeah. So I was
Yeah.
gonna ask you about the, especially on the convention side.
Mhm.
So how many of those have you gone to now? I know you're in Dallas, but which other ones have you made it to?
Oh, it looks like my dog Walter is trying to barely
Hello,
pop
Walter.
the screen. So if people are wondering what the ghost is, it's starting to pop in.
It's
It's him.
Walter.
It's just Walter.
It's just Walter.
Um, God, how many conventions have well, with the Decon Chamber, I've been to 3 conventions because since this is still our first year, we went to Vegas, um, the granddaddy of conventions, and then, I was not able to go with the guys to Nashville, but I went with them to Chicago and Dallas.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
gonna say there was 4, so you just didn't get to go to Nashville then.
Yeah, which,
Okay.
I was really excited about that one, but, next year.
Yeah. Next what well, we're not gonna talk about
Knock
those.
on wood, knock on wood, knock on wood, yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping so much they every time not every time, but I've made more than one suggestion to Mr. Ryan T. Husk when we're on recordings every now and then in the chat, trek to Austin.
That I've been saying that for years, come
Trek
on.
trek to Austin.
I said that this year in Dallas. I do feel like there's a big a big group of Star Trek fans in Austin.
I
And
told him that too.
yeah? Wait,
Just
I have to quick make a quick side note because I've
yeah.
been waiting to take a sip of water until I make a comment about this. I
Okay.
want to bring out just for this interview my
Uh-oh.
favorite water bottle. Woo!
Oh my gosh.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Oh, yes. Cheers.
Cheers. You oh my god. Katie, you completely shocked me that the first Zoom we ever met when we were trying to do all the logistics for coming out there, and I wasn't I had no I was not even thinking, I just grabbed a drink, no big deal on my side, and I wish we'd been recording that because I would have used that as some B-roll for this interview because, oh my god, you're like, "Is that a Whataburger cup?" I'm like, "Yeah," and
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm like a dog and squirrels when it comes to Whataburger. Like, I see it, I hear it, I smell it. Shoot, where is it? I need it. Did I ever send you I told you I have a picture what my shower curtain is.
so, yeah, you've told me, and then there was actually a picture I saw somewhere you had posted or something, and you can see your shower curtain in it.
No way. Ugh, what
Yeah.
pictures? Oh god, I gotta look through my pictures.
Yeah. I think it's might have been on
Social
your
media,
website. I don't remember honestly now. But
probably. No, it's
yeah, yes, it might have been just a photo of you, but I was like and I hadn't even noticed it may have been some during the holidays. I don't know. And I was like, oh,
there it is.
sh-
Yeah.
she wasn't lying. Like
I never lie about Whataburger.
she legit has for all my Whataburger friends, she legitimately has a Whataburger shower curtain.
I do. I
So,
do.
in
Always
fact,
in the
I'm gonna
back.
have to share this video with my good friend Mark because he's a Whataburger aficionado as well.
Oh,
So,
yeah? He's as crazy as I am when it comes to Whataburger?
the only reason he could not, when they were back when Whataburger was doing their constant contest for the biggest fan,
Oh, that's
he
right.
was he was disqualified because his aunt worked for Whataburger.
Oh, no!
Yep.
What?
If I
Oh,
remember
Mark,
correctly,
I'm
that was the
so
story.
sorry.
He could not do it because his aunt was a Whataburger employee.
Did he make a costume? Did he even get that far?
No, he didn't do it because he knew
So
already. Yeah. So,
yeah.
um, so someone's gonna ask, now that I didn't know you did documentary, so that's kinda helping also now, but so between, I guess, the documentaries and the guests you've had on the Decon Chamber, is there one that stands out the most to you so far?
Ooh, I mean, just beyond, like, any doc that I've ever been a part of in my filmmaking career, or just stick to Star Trek?
Let's start with the Star Trek, and then you can go to anything else. Because you've had
Okay,
a nice y'all have had a nice round of guests come through so far.
we really have. I mean, at least as far as, with Star Trek content, I still can't believe our first guest in the Decon Chamber was William Shatner.
Yeah,
What?
that doesn't happen.
I know, and, calling out me growing up not being a Trekkie, my love for William Shatner was huge as a kid, but from Miss Congeniality.
Oh,
Did you ever
that's
see
right.
that movie?
Oh, yes, I
Course.
did.
American icon, classic.
Yes.
Yeah, but I loved Miss Congeniality, and then I just knew him from other projects that he did, and as I grew up, I started to appreciate him as a theater artist. Uh, I mean, he just my god, his career is extensive beyond it's beyond belief. It's phenomenal. So the fact that we had him on as our first guest was so cool.
That was cool, and
Yeah,
now that I'm sitting here thinking about it, and what made the first season even better was you had him as your first guest, and then you had Scott
yeah,
as
your last.
the last guest for the first season.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that was such a beautiful bookend to be
oh,
able to get him and again, like, talk about I loved Quantum Leap growing up. Um, and I will say too, I'm always trying to please my parents. I'm an only child, and so, being able to call my dad and tell him, "Dad, we got Scott Bakula on the show," and my dad's not a Trekkie, but he loves Quantum Leap and he loves Scott Bakula, so to finally hear him get excited over one of our guests was the biggest win. That was huge. So, yeah, that was a great bookend of the season.
that's a g well, and the man doesn't age. I'm sorry.
I know.
He
He's he's in his 70s and I don't know, doesn't look a day over 40. Like, what
not
is his life?
much.
He's incredible.
I
He's
know.
incredible.
It
Yeah. I
yeah.
wanna be him when I grow up.
Same here. But yeah, no, and that was something, I was gonna say, when it comes to, Trek and like, you may not have one yet, but and maybe you do, I don't know now, but so like, when it comes to the shows, Enterprise, TNG and all that, my probably my preferred show is Enterprise now. It would have been like TNG and those others, but what I loved about Enterprise and I don't know if you've well, so are you having to watch it when y'all are doing those yeah, are you having to watch it when y'all are doing those things?
I mean, I watch it just 'cause I wanna know what's going on. I wanna know what they're talking about. It helps me for just, anything that's
Okay, good. So, I mean, see, that's so what I loved about that series was we actually got to see, humanity's, first steps into interstellar space and
yeah,
trying to deal with, you know, what's going on out there. And I was talking to another person, first person I interviewed, and she made a very good point that I hadn't thought about originally. But you know, Scott Bakula's character, Captain Archer, really did not go out there feeling he was going to have to be an ambassador. But when it turns out, he was expecting it to kind of be all loving and never getting shot at. But that's not what it turned out to be, though, and it really surprised him, so he had to learn so much, which goes to show anything new that we do here, we're always gonna have to learn,
exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and then how they would always drop little nuggets of canon or future, stuff that we already know, but like the prime directive and stuff. And he's like, well, I don't have a directive. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that. And so that always really intrigued me about that. And in regards, so I know since you're kind of a newbie within reason, but so of all of the stuff that you've watched so far, is there a series that you prefer? What's your favorite series if you have one yet?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, like, I don't know, I think I mentioned it earlier, but I'm a sucker for Star Trek Voyager. I mean, I feel like it's the first series that I started, just because I was trying to research on the documentary about it, but I fell in love with the show. I fell in love with the characters. I am obsessed with Captain Janeway. The fact that it's the first female captain, and again, my female empowerment roots, I want to share stories and and help lift up stories about women. And so the fact that she was the first female captain and, on a series and a franchise, it's always been known for breaking grounds anyways. The fact that they did that with that show is just I will always appreciate.
Oh, no, it was great. And have
Yeah.
y'all haven't had, and if y'all ever do, but y'all haven't had Garrett on yet, right?
We have
No, not
not
yet.
had Garrett on yet. Yeah.
If
We
y'all
interviewed
ever
him
do,
several times for the documentary.
yeah, I wonder if so I haven't watched I haven't gotten to see the Voyager documentary. I wonder if they talked about it in there, and it wouldn't be given away, is that, the love-hate that Voyager got after it premiered originally.
with the yeah, for having a female captain?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it definitely touches on that, because how
Yeah,
can you not? I mean, the fact that
uh
the studio was getting bomb threats, there was
okay, good,
people
you've
coming
heard that's where I was going.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Yeah,
it's, horrible, but a
yeah.
sad
I didn't
part of the
know.
truth of what happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I was at SpaceCon in San Antonio, my first convention to go to, um, he's it was basically, it was over, so we were all just sitting there. He was just waiting to go for we all got to sit there and talk for about an hour, which was so cool. And, but he started telling us stories, and he was telling me and some other people about the calls that Paramount got the day after it premiered, and the range that they went from, "This is about time," "Why haven't we done this before?" to, "Why would you do this? She should be, a woman should be at home." And then all the way to what you were saying, they actually had bomb threats against the studio, and they had to increase security and all that stuff. And when he told me that, that just blew my mind.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I'm getting chills again just thinking about it. I mean,
Oh,
it's
I
just
know. I did too. I was like, "What?"
yeah. I know it's crazy because you think about the world that we live in today, but I mean, it's just all that's all progress that we look at in society. You think, "Oh, could there ever be a time where people didn't live like this?" But there was.
And there
Yeah,
what we still have those problems today.
exactly. We still have
And
there's still people that think like that.
yeah, and I mean, and that's the thing, like we could ask, how does how we feel as Star Trek address social issues, and it really has. I mean, you think about, you know, the original series back in the 60s, which I'm not gonna lie, it can be hard to watch. We're doing that right now, with the Seventh Rule. We watch, TNG and then like one episode of TOS with Walter. And the most recent one we watched, like, oh my god, we were when we were doing our initial free for all, like most a lot of people were like, yeah, it's an episode, it's okay. I'm gonna leave the rest of that for the things left unsaid. I basically said, here's a couple of things. Yeah, it was the girl, the woman that played Cat Lady in the original Batman and all this other
Oh,
stuff. Uh,
yeah. I think I know what you're
and
talking about. Some of the outfits in that episode.
well, not just well for for
A lot of the
us,
episodes. A lot of the episodes.
correct, all the episodes, but this one, Dr. McCoy is, the main female character. She's pregnant, and he's trying to examine her or do whatever, and he's he's doing his thing. She slaps him, and then she slaps him again, and then he slaps her back.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah.
No.
And he's like, "I'm a doctor, and I'm gonna do what I need to do." I was like, and so yeah. Anyway, so there was a lot of things that were said later on after in the paywall side of that discussion. But again, it helps us to realize how much we have progressed since that, though. About because something made a comment about, well, he actually said, within your consent, I'm going to do these things, and stuff like that. Uh, so, anyway, so yeah, some of this stuff hasn't aged well, but it has also helped us to get to where we're at today.
Exactly. And I think one thing that I always tell myself or that I appreciate about Star Trek is that, yes, it hasn't always gotten everything right, but it keeps trying. It keeps trying to get things right. It keeps trying to make things right amongst ourselves, amongst society, amongst how we think and communicate with each other. So I appreciate it. I really do. And I feel like I've been telling people the last number of years, especially in this past year with how involved I've been with Star Trek and this decon chamber. But I might not be the biggest fan of, the Star Trek shows per se, because I don't know them as much, but I am a fan of the Star Trek community. and what the Star Trek franchise has created, uh, for just society. I think it's a really beautiful thing, and I appreciate that, and I think that goes on I think that can be appreciated beyond people who know Star Trek.
Well, and speaking of the community, like you were saying, I can only imagine what it was like the first time you went to an actual convention. Let's just say STLV.
Oh my god, yeah, that was my first convention,
Yeah.
was
So
the granddaddy of conventions.
so yeah, let's just take a little quick, what in the world like was going through your mind if you can even remember now when you walked
I
in
definitely can. I can remember my first Vegas convention
when
so
you walked into all that stuff and I would
Oh,
have
I
been
did. I remember having to stop for a second. I mean, it was like a push of gravity just halted me, and I had to stop and take it all in. I mean, it was insane. The fact that it takes place in this giant, convention center. There's what, 20,000 people that attend, something crazy like that. I mean, it's people all over the world. I was hearing people speak all different languages. I think some of them were Klingon, some of them weren't even common languages, but the fact that we had, alien and global languages there, I mean, it was just incredible. The people that go all out, that go all out in the costumes, I mean, the time and the care that people put into this event is astonishing. I was truly blown away by it, really, and I had the best time. I mean, talk about the community. Like, I truly felt embraced by this community because I felt some imposter syndrome. I wasn't there with the decon chamber. It was before we were born. I was there with just 455 films with our other documentaries we were doing. Um, and I could sense the love that people had for it and the knowledge that people had, and people would come up to me and try to ask me specifics about certain characters or series. And I don't know what I was lying my ass off.
well, hey,
Yeah,
you figured it out though.
pardon me?
You figured it out and you've
Exactly,
learned
exactly.
to
And
get
I felt like even with not knowing, certain
Mhm.
things, people didn't care. People embraced me. People said, "Let me teach you. Come with me. Come hang out with us. What are you doing later tonight? Come to Quark's Bar." It was great. I felt like being at summer camp. I truly did. I felt like being a kid at summer camp.
Yes, and so and I'm at STLV, but even in Dallas, the Trek to Dallas show, we were all just, just a family when hanging out, and it's not like anybody well, I was just shocked personally that one of the ladies that was in our because I went ahead because it was my first, creation event, I decided to splurge and did the VIP package, and we're meeting everybody, and one of the VIP members, she flew all the way from Australia.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And the fact that the amount of people that I met like that at Vegas, and like I just met that one woman in
Yeah.
Dallas. I met 25 people like that in Vegas.
Oh yeah. I
Insane.
and then one of our members, her name Jen, who's one
Yeah.
of our and she flew in
Yeah.
from England.
Love you.
Yeah, I mean, she came in from England, just to come to this convention. So yeah, so talk about a small world, and
Yeah.
that this show that has been out, almost 60 years now has brought together. I mean, I'd have never met her or you or anybody like that. And some of the other members that are in our group are, across the other, but if you ever I don't know if you've ever met, like Dave Gregory and some of these other guys,
Oh, yeah.
they, oh my God, everybody that I have met, they are just so opening, arms wide open, just come on in.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And there's no animosity. And it's so cool,
Yeah. I
and
gotta
they,
say Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Let finish your thought, and then I have something to add to that. Yeah.
I think my thought's finished.
Oh, well, okay, I was gonna say, just even more so, just building off the community, what I find even crazier than the conventions are the cruises. Have you done a Star Trek themed
Not yet.
cruise?
Nope.
Chris,
Maybe
it
in
will
26
change
or
your
27.
life. You have to do it. You have to. I tell people all the time, even if you're not a Trekkie, you have to go on this cruise. It will change your life. It is so much fun. It is incredible. And just talk about again, like the fact that people like with Vegas, people plan their whole years around this vacation, I feel like. And they like every night they have a different themed costume party and people go all out with every costume. People will make like on their door, like their bedroom door of the ship, signs with like boxes for people to take little goodies. It's I mean, just the thought that people put into this week is phenomenal. You
So have
have
you
to
been on a cruise?
I've been on 2.
Oh, I didn't
Woo.
know that. Oh, you
Yeah,
lucky
thank you
dog.
for the 5 films. Woo.
Well, and yeah, because I was talking, several Seventh Row members, and they're like, "Y just like what you said, cruise,
The
do it.
cruise. The
It's
cruise.
worth every penny."
Yeah, the cruise is where it's at. It really is. It's worth every penny, and the destinations you go to are really cool. The fact that you get to spend a week on a boat with a bunch of Star Trek actors. How cool
Well,
is that?
and exactly, and so I was actually that's why I was just talking to, Michael Goodwill yesterday. He's Captain Goodwill on Trekking Up North and all these other channels, and, but we were talking about the cruises and whatnot, and TJ Jackson Bay as well. He always does cruises,
Oh, yeah.
and
That's where I met him actually, was on one of the cruises, or my first
oh,
cruise.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I guarantee you, TJ is he'll be on the cruise in like a week month next month
Oh, yeah, that man's he
in
has a
February.
pony.
He is a cruiser, and I was talking about it with one of them, and I said, "It's almost like" so I do wanna go to STLV just because it's the mecca of all conventions, um, but what I loved about our the smaller ones like we did, Dallas, Nashville, Chicago, and all those, is because they're smaller than STLV, um, you still are intimate with the all the different actors that are there, and that's what made, like, Dallas fun because so the small ones and when the convention's at a hotel, it's a minor version of a land cruise because you are a good chance you're gonna run into them in the elevator or the hallway. I mean, I ran into I don't know if she's I don't think she's technically I don't know if she's your boss, but I was in the elevator with Alita, just shooting the bull with her for a little bit. We were discussing some things that were gonna be going on that evening, and she was, kinda making me feel good. And, but yeah, just shooting the bull. Just like another day, no big deal. So that's my only comparison to the cruise would be, but with a cruise, you are locked in for a
Exactly,
week.
there is nowhere to go.
You ain't
And
going
even
anywhere
even if you get off that boat at destination, you gotta get back on at some point.
unless you want to fly home on your own.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Or just
So I
live out the
guess
rest of your days in an island.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll do it. I just probably won't be until 26, which is okay because I'm pretty sure the instant the rooms come open for STLV 26, I'm gonna book
Oh,
regardless.
really? Do they do
Yeah.
they do they fill up quick?
I don't know, and I don't wanna risk it because with that being the 60th anniversary, it's gonna be
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, yeah, you should book right away. Better be safe than sorry. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, I'm like, as soon as your Rio or even Creation, I think I'm gonna buy the tickets, just buy them now, get when as soon as it goes, buy it, get it over with. Worst case, the hotel, I can cancel if I had to, and I can if I had to and the tickets, I know I could transfer to somebody else if I needed to and get some of my money back, but with it being the 60th anniversary
You
next
have
year,
to go. You have
yeah,
to. Yeah.
I think we'll all
We
be
all
there.
have to go. I wanna go. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be there. One way
Exactly.
or the other, you'll be there.
We'll have a
So
project. We'll be working on something.
that's right.
Knock on
So,
wood. Knock on
I
wood.
guess I'm I do have one I just got one little easy question for you real quick
Yeah.
is, what piece of Star Trek technology, if it existed today, would you like to have?
Ooh, that's not an easy question. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I would love to be able to just, you know, beam someone up or just beam myself up, get myself out of a situation. The amount of times I've just felt my skin crawling thinking, "How can I get out of this room right now? How can I get out of this conversation? If I could just go whoop, and I'm gone, that'd be great."
That would be good. That's usually my first one. I'm like, "I want a transporter,"
Yeah,
because I could have just transported myself straight to the studio.
exactly. I can be Scotty. I can beam
Boom.
myself up. Yeah.
That's right, dang it. Beam yourselves up. And
Exactly.
then yeah, so that'd be my first one. And then I had not thought about this until I asked this question to somebody else,
Mhm.
and it was the first time they said it. They said replicators. I thought, replicators?
That'd be an interesting
And
piece
I
to have.
and it's right, and I didn't think about it until they explained why, and then it just the light bulb went off, and it totally made sense. You basically could end world hunger with a replicator, or
Oh,
take and put food.
well, yeah, you can't game
Yeah.
over.
I was like, when he said that, I was like, yeah, you could give food, medicines, the whole but if you have transporters, you're gonna they kinda go hand in hand, so
Yeah, exactly. I could a transporter and a replicator. That'd be great. Yeah.
I'm gonna let you go, but I thank you so
Oh,
much for giving
thank
me your
you.
time today to do
Yeah.
this,
Oh my god, no,
and
thank you. I was so excited when you told me you were doing this. Just I'm so excited for you to get this off the ground. I'm excited to see where it goes from here. I know you put a lot of hard work into it. Uh, yeah,
you
I'm
too.
just congratulations, Chris, really.
Thank you, Katie, and,
Yeah.
if you got anything, like I said, I know you don't have anything really coming up right now, but if it's your
Alright, well, we
current
do have
job
decon chamber. Yeah, get ready. Where's my there it is. Get ready. We have more episodes coming soon. The decon chamber, or depending on when this episode drops. I hope you're enjoying the episodes that are already out. But yeah, no, we are definitely in the works of just, getting more good episodes this next year, some more fun additions to the show to put out for people, and just more fun ways to keep the audience engaged, keep everyone together, and keep the decon chamber alive and well.
alright. Well, I
Yeah.
thank you. Well,
Of
enjoy the
course. Oh, and really
oh
quickly, of course, I can't say in case you don't know where to find the decon
oh,
chamber.
yes, I forgot.
Of course, yeah, yeah. We are on YouTube, we are on Patreon, we are on all the audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can find us on social channels. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're playing in the young crowd,
I know.
and YouTube Shorts. So yeah, we hope to see
Cool.
you in one of those spots.
And, you might as well just go ahead and add it to your list. Just go ahead and join BlueSky.
I know, we've been talking about it, so,
I know.
we'll probably be
It's
there sooner
I yeah,
before we know it, yeah.
I know. I was surprised. I like, but a lot of people of our in this industry have gone over there. But
Yeah,
anyway,
we get it. Like, people in the entertainment industry, we go where the work goes,
that's
so,
right. All
yeah,
right. Well,
yeah.
I will talk to you later, Katie.
Okay,
You have a
sounds
good
good, I'll talk to
afternoon.
you soon. Thanks, Chris,
Bye.
take care. Bye.
Bye.
For as little as $5 per month, you can gain early access to the full ad-free versions of all interviews, plus additional exclusive content by joining Patreon.